So we have 4 battle-hardened contenders, 4 albums that have already proven themselves against some tough competition. Let's list them. Because it's a spectrum of sound that barely makes sense in the same room.
Okay, first up, representing the absolute peak of 21st century pop production, you have Teenage Dream by Katy Perry.
Okay. Then, from the complete other end of the universe, you have the undisputed classic of 70s rock history, an album whose creation story is probably as famous as the music.
Oh, yeah. Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. Next, we have the representative of melodic, guitar-driven rock. It's often categorized as AOR, adult-oriented rock.
Right.
Stan Bush's Heaven.
And rounding out this just eclectic quartet, a collection of really poetic, genre-defying music.
Best of Labi, Siffre.
It's just a fascinating, almost chaotic stack of records to force anyone to process back-to-back.
Absolutely.
So I think the first thing we really need to understand to appreciate the stakes here in round 2 is the path each of these albums took to even get here.
Right. Because if these were all easy victories in the first round, we wouldn't be as impressed.
Sure.
But Greenstock's source material, it confirms that every single one of these overcame some pretty significant competition.
So tracing their qualification path gives us immediate context about, I guess, the inherent quality the author has already assigned to them. They've been tested.
Verified. Exactly.
Let's start with the classic, Rumours. It kind of feels like the anchor of this whole group.
Yeah, for sure. So Rumours qualified out of round 1, group 65, and critically, it finished second in that group.
Second. Okay, so it didn't win its group.
It did not. It qualified behind a true rock behemoth of the 90s. Oasis's, what's the story? Morning Glory.
Oh, wow. Okay, that immediately establishes a heavyweight fight. You have the polished, emotionally intricate production of 70s California rock going up against the raw, anthemic swagger of 90s Britpop.
They're both monuments in their own eras. Yeah. And the fact that Rumours finished second means it had to decisively knock out 2 other albums to get that spot.
So who did it beat?
It did. The 2 albums that were eliminated were a Best Of by Spand Up LA.
Okay, the 80s new wave guys.
And a Best Of by Tony Basil.
Eek.
That's the one. And while those are compilation albums, they represent, major commercial success and very distinct sounds from the 80s.
So Rumours, by beating them, showed that its consistent original studio track quality was judged as superior to those big commercial hits collections.
Right. It survived a group that spanned decades of popular music. It was a tough one.
Okay, next up, the pop juggernaut, Katy Perry's Teenage Dream.
Yeah.
This one came out of a much later group, round 1, group 187, which just shows you the sheer volume of records in this whole quest. So where did Teenage Dream land?
It also qualified in second place.
Another second place.
Another one. Its primary rival in Group 187 was another contemporary female pop artist, Pink's The Truth About Love, which took the top spot.
That makes sense. You can see those 2 powerhouse vocalists competing directly.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the real insight, I think, comes from who Teenage Dream had to eliminate to get that second spot.
Okay.
It defeated Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds' self-titled debut.
Oh.
And, kind of randomly, the operatic pop group Il Divo's Ancora.
That is a telling victory. I mean, that really speaks volumes about Greenstock's priorities, doesn't it?
It really does, because Noel Gallagher is, as the source points out, a celebrated figure. He's an icon of British rock. His solo debut was pretty well received.
So for a, quote, bubblegum pop album like Teenage Dream to dispatch a critically respected rock veteran,
it suggests that the sheer, just unrelenting energy, the production polish, and the hit density of Perry's record just overcame the more maybe serious or self-conscious artistry of Gallagher's post-Oasis work.
Yeah.
At least in the subjective eyes of the author.
It sets up this perfect conflict, pop quality versus rock pedigree. So now we move to what I think is the most surprising qualification path, the one that makes you really question the author's internal genre consistency.
Oh, yeah.
Labi Siffre's Best Of. This one came out of round 1, group 41.
This is truly astonishing. We need to just spend a moment appreciating the contrast here. Labi Siffre, who's known for his gentle, poetic folk soul, he qualified second in what the author specifically flagged as a profoundly rock-heavy group.
Just think about the sonic environment Siffre was placed in. He finished behind AC/DC's Back in Black.
Back in Black.
I mean, you have the thunderous, high-voltage hard rock of AC/DC, an album that basically sets the volume scale to 11.
Right.
And right behind it, The delicate musical poetry of Siffre, it is the definition of genre dissonance.
And the eliminated albums just hammer home how difficult that group was.
Who were they?
Siffre's collection eliminated Iron Maiden's Fear of the Dark.
Wow.
And Rainbow's Ritchie Blackmore's Rainbow.
So we are talking about two absolute giants of heavy rock and metal, albums built on guitar aggression and bombast.
Exactly. For a collection of quiet, profound, folk-leaning soul music to survive a group that eliminated two titans of heavy metal. That requires incredible subjective conviction from the author.
It tells us that Greenster Rocks prioritizes lyrical depth and quiet artistry highly enough to completely transcend the genre battle.
Yeah, it confirms that the quality he perceives here is just exceptional.
Which brings us to our final contender, Stan Bush's Heaven, the AOR classic. It must have had a specific, loyal fan base to get out of its group.
It did. It came out of round one, group 51.
And it also got a second-place finish, right?
It did. It qualified right behind Texas's White on Blonde, which was a very successful British band known for merging pop with a rock structure.
Okay, and who did Stan Bush manage to push out?
He beat Big Country's The Crossing, a beloved Scottish rock band known for their really unique guitar sound. And the Scissor Sisters' self-titled debut, which was a massive electropop and glam rock act.
So again, Heaven earned its spot by fighting through this really diverse field that spanned new wave, glam, and alternative rock.
This whole background is just crucial. It confirms the baseline. Every album in this round two group, Rumours, Teenage Dream, The Best of Labi, Siffre, and Heaven, is already a recognized champion within this quest.
The competition is incredibly tight. And the ultimate ranking is going to come down to these microscopic differences in perceived quality and, as we're about to find out, factors completely outside the music itself.
And this is where this album quest, for me, it moves beyond simple rankings and becomes a genuine philosophical investigation.
Yeah.
Greenster Rocks experienced this kind of crisis of conscience while listening to this group, and it was specifically triggered by Rumours.
The core question he was grappling with was, can the perceived quality of an album fundamentally change, even for the same listener, depending on the specific listening context?
It's a dilemma that every music fan unconsciously deals with, you know?
For sure.
But Greenster Rocks meticulously tries to quantify it for the quest. He realizes that our environment forces us into these specific musical preferences, which creates this, I guess, unstable, subjective measurement tool.
He details those specific situations, and they are so relatable.
Totally. When he's driving a long distance, especially on a monotonous motorway, he prefers what he calls driving rock.
So fast, heavy, guitar-laden music.
Exactly. The theory is that this high-energy input fights the boredom and helps with the onerous task of concentrating during a long journey.
And then you contrast that with physical exercise. He mentions how joggers universally want those thumping, rhythmic dance beats.
Music engineered to match and propel movement.
Right, and then you have the quiet sanctity of a Sunday morning listening session.
Which dictates a preference for classical or softer artists like Nat King Cole, Burt Bacharach, or Mozart.
So if the context dictates the preference, how can you objectively rank four wildly different albums?
The answer, as Greenster Rocks humorously realized, is that you can't. Not without performing these utterly ridiculous logistical feats.
And the moment he starts contemplating the logical conclusions, the whole narrative just turns hilarious because the obsessive nature of the quest hits a wall of reality.
Yeah.
He jokes about the impracticality of having to, manufacture a 500-mile road trip every other week just to ensure fair and consistent testing for his driving rock albums.
Or the absurdity of needing to guarantee that Katy Perry's highly produced papa record that demands to be heard has to sound just as good when he's stuck in traffic on the M25 as it does in his bathroom, or, quote, in the shower.
And he explicitly rejects the notion of taking up jogging purely for the sake of contextual consistency for the dance-heavy albums. He calls this entire mental tangent the banal, obsessive idiocy of the mind.
But the kernel of truth is still there. The environment does affect enjoyment.
Absolutely.
And the catalyst for this entire philosophical breakdown was the technical characteristic of Fleetwood Mac's Rumours. This is the album that introduced the volume problem.
Greenster Rocks observed that Rumours is an incredibly quiet and understated album. So when he played it back-to-back with the others in the group, the hyper-loud Teenage Dream, the guitar-forward Heaven, and even the polished Labi Siffre collection, Rumours just felt really subdued.
And it's important to understand the technical reason for this. Rumours was recorded in the mid-'70s, before the loudness war took hold in the '90s and 2000s.
Right.
Producers back then prized dynamic range. the difference between the loudest and quietest sounds on a recording.
So that wide dynamic range gives the music space to breathe and have impact, but it also means the overall perceived volume is just lower.
Whereas modern pop, like Teenage Dream, often uses extreme compression. The dynamic range is basically flattened so that even the quietest parts of the song are almost as loud as the loudest parts.
Which makes the music sound uniformly powerful, especially on bad equipment or in noisy environments.
And that technical difference creates the problem for Rumours when it's exposed to real-world ambient noise. Greenstocks notes that while the production quality itself is not deficient, he actually calls it gorgeous, the quietness actively affects his enjoyment when he's listening in the car.
The ambient noise of the car and the outside world just rises above the music's quietest parts.
The ultimate example he gives is Christine McVie's legendary track, Songbird.
An incredibly delicate piano-based song.
And when listened to in a car, it becomes functionally inaudible. It's masked entirely by the external noise floor.
The sound of the engine, the tires on the road.
And literally, as he notes, the real chirping birds outside the window.
That brings us to the crucial comparison about the equipment quality. On his Kinney system, or his very average car stereo, he found Rumours sounded a little flat and muffled.
All the subtle instrumental details are lost because the equipment isn't sensitive enough and the background noise is just too high.
But the transformation happens when he plays the same album on his home hi-fi system. He says he has 2 amps and high-quality Katy speakers.
Right, so that sophisticated setup lets him increase the volume without distortion, and those Katy speakers are designed to resolve the tiny details of wide dynamic range recordings.
And when he plays it with volume in that controlled environment, Rumours doesn't just sound good. He says it sounds magnificent.
He calls it a true hi-fi listening experience. The subtleties that were completely annihilated by the car noise suddenly emerge as the defining features of the record's genius.
Yeah, and he highlights these specific musical details, like Lindsey Buckingham's sumptuous flamenco-inspired style, especially on Never Going Back Again.
And the soft melodies and the perfect, intricate harmonies on tracks like Dreams, Don't Stop, and Gold Dust Woman.
These are the hallmarks of a classic album, but they're fragile. They only thrive in the right environment.
And that's the core conflict he had to resolve for the ranking. Do you rank based on the optimal high-fidelity experience, or do you rank based on real-world high-noise usability?
Because the high-energy, compressed consistency of Teenage Dream is inherently better suited to noisy environments.
While the dynamic range and the finesse of Rumours requires quiet reverence.
It changes the whole definition of best. If best means the album that provides the maximum listening experience under perfect conditions, Rumours has the edge.
But if best means the album that retains the maximum quality across the widest range of listening conditions, well, Teenage Dream starts to look very appealing.
And that philosophical tightrope walk defined the entire final ranking.
So Greenstocks had to weigh this intrinsic optimal quality where Rumours shines against the real-world consistent functionality where Teenage Dream excels. Let's see how he actually landed in his final ranking for Round 2, Group 34.
So let's start with number 1. Ultimately, the intrinsic genius won the day. Despite the environmental issues, despite the volume problem, Greenstocks ranked Rumours by Fleetwood Mac at number 1.
Which is a clear statement, isn't it?
Yeah.
It says that the album's premier-grade musicianship and songwriting, when you hear it correctly, it transcends all those logistical challenges.
And he deliberately focuses on the present-day listening experience. He avoids the temptation to retell the famous, soap opera history of the album's creation.
Yeah, he just calls it an enduring rock album. Yeah. And the fact is, the songwriting is masterful.
Yeah.
When you think about the chain, a track built from all these disparate jam sessions, the layered complexities of Go Your Own Way.
And what elevates it isn't just the songwriting, it's the performance he captured. The detailed analysis of Buckingham's playing, that sumptuous flamenco-inspired style on Never Going Back Again, that's a key example.
Right, that isn't just rock and roll. That is intricate acoustic mastery that requires incredible fidelity to even be appreciated.
Exactly. Even on a track like Gold Dust Woman, which has this dark, kind of swampy atmosphere, the subtle vocal interplay and the sparse instrumentation, they rely on that dynamic range.
And it proved to Greenstocks that when given the resources, the Katy speakers, the volume, no other album in this group could deliver the sheer emotional complexity and instrumental richness of Rumours.
Its flaw is its delicacy, but its strength is its depth.
Well said.
Okay, so coming in at a very close second, proving its incredible strength and consistency.
Katy Perry's Teenage Dream.
Yes.
Greenstrokes calls this a comprehensive pop rock compendium, a collection that perfectly encapsulates the sound and feel of the early 2010s mainstream.
He defines it as a quite brilliant collection of bubblegum pop. And we should probably pause on that term in this context. Bubblegum pop is basically catchy commercial pop music that's designed to be instantly accessible, fun, and often focused on lighthearted themes.
And the themes here are specifically cited as young adult excess and fun.
It's high-energy party music, California Girls, Last Friday Night, TGIF. These songs are not trying to be subtle at all.
No, they are aiming for maximum impact, and they achieve it effortlessly.
The review does address the main critical hurdle, though, the suggestion by some that the album is slightly formulaic.
Which is kind of the curse of success in pop, right? When every single song is engineered for the maximum hook and maximum radio play, critics often just label it as repetitive.
But Greenstrokes firmly counters this. He says the song crafting skills are undeniable.
He actually uses the consistency as the album's greatest strength. The quality is called consistently strong throughout, making it a definitive top pop album.
And look at the tracks he singles out. California Girls, Last Friday Night, The One That Got Away, E.T., and Circle the Drain.
The remarkable thing is the stylistic range contained within that pop structure. I mean, E.T. is moody, it's almost industrial electropop.
Right, whereas California Girls is just pure sun-drenched euphoria.
And the strength of Teenage Dream lies in its production philosophy. Unlike Rumours, this album is built to survive noise. Its heavy compression ensures that whether you're listening on a cheap phone speaker, a car radio, or even a high-end system, the energy and the hooks are delivered immediately and powerfully.
It requires no delicate handling. It's the ultimate functional music.
Yeah, and it trails only slightly behind Rumours, which demonstrates that while its production style is designed for practicality, its songwriting depth still holds up against a true classic. It qualified because it's a modern masterpiece of consistent, high-volume, high-energy pop delivery.
So now we make that radical pivot to Labi, Siffre, the album that finished third, just missing the qualification cut. Greenstrokes notes that Siffre treads his own path and remains a truly original artist, which is a direct contrast to the formulaic nature sometimes attributed to high-tier pop.
And this 1999 compilation is characterized by music that is musically delicate, which actually mirrors the dynamic characteristics of Rumours, but its content is so powerful. It consistently expresses a powerful message of human observation. It's described as a beautiful collection of poetic music.
The emotional core of this collection is just undeniable. He highlights the famous tracks that are, cultural touchstones, Something Inside So Strong, which is this magnificent anthem of resilience and political defiance.
And the gentler, universally beloved It Must Be Love.
Yeah.
Siffre's originality is emphasized through specific musical examples, too. Greenstrokes points out that Siffre effortlessly throws in a little bit of rap on the track City of Dreams.
That detail isn't just trivia. It illustrates how Siffre defies easy categorization. He's weaving together these seemingly disparate genres, folk, soul, spoken word, rap into this cohesive, singular voice, years before that became mainstream.
The genius is in the subtlety and the lyrical weight. If you're looking for music that makes you think, that demands concentration on the message, Labi, Siffre delivers.
So why did it finish third? The critique says it only just fell short of the top two.
I think we can extrapolate that, much like Rumours. The delicate nature of the production might have hindered its performance in that competitive real-world listening test.
Especially when it's pitted against the sheer sonic domination of Teenage Dream and the historical weight of Rumours.
Exactly. In a round two group, this strong subtlety, even beautiful subtlety, is a dangerous characteristic to have.
Okay, and finally, landing in the fourth and eliminated spot, we have Stan Bush's Heaven. The author introduces him with this great affection as everybody's favorite yet unknown AOR cheese rocker.
We should probably unpack that label. AOR stands for Adult-Oriented Rock. It was huge in the 70s and 80s, characterized by highly melodic, guitar-driven hard rock that was slickly produced for radio play.
So think Journey, Foreigner, early Bon Jovi.
Right. And the cheese rocker part usually refers to the prevalent use of synth pads, dramatic vocals, and often over-the-top earnest power ballads that define the 80s cinematic sound.
Like Stan Bush's own soundtrack work for the Transformers, the movie.
Exactly like that.
Yes.
The context of this particular album, Heaven, is important. Greenstrokes clarifies that this, his fifth studio album, is less of a proper album and more a compilation of previously unreleased material.
So leftovers.
Yeah, likely leftovers from the highly regarded Stan Bush and Barrage era of the late 80s.
And when you're dealing with collections of leftovers, you inherently run the risk of quality and consistency.
You do. However, Greenstock still describes it as a fairly strong melodic rock effort. It's not dismissed as poor quality, it just isn't peak Stan Bush.
He notes that it contains one or two sparkling slices of guitar-driven AOR that rival Bush's major output.
Yeah, the highlight tracks are excellent, didn't I? Promises and My Father's Son. These tracks showcase that classic AOR polish and lyrical sincerity.
And crucially, the production on this collection of potentially scattered tracks is noted as being better than the author remembered.
Right, with Stan's soaring heroic vocals sounding great on most of these tracks.
But the witness is where that collection status showed through. He says it was only let down by one or two ordinary efforts.
And in a group this strong, ordinary is fatal. Given the AOR context, it likely means tracks that lacked the necessary arena rock punch, maybe some generic mid-tempo filler that just wasn't strong enough for the original studio albums.
And those ordinary efforts are fatal in a group this strong. Being a solid mid-tier Stan Bush album simply wasn't enough to secure a top 2 finish against the cultural weight and consistent quality of Rumours and Teenage Dream.
It was just an unfortunate placement in a group that was simply too competitive.
Okay, so we've dissected the technical, the philosophical, and the musical reasoning behind Greenstock's process. Now, let's just confirm the definitive high-stakes results for Round 2, Group 34.
The official final rankings are settled, based on the author's rigorous yet highly subjective analysis. In first place,
Rumours by Fleetwood Mac.
In second place,
Teenage Dream by Katy.
Third place,
The Best of Labi by Siffre.
And in fourth,
Heaven by Stan Bush.
So, following the strict rules of the album quest, we can confirm the qualification status. Fleetwood Mac's Rumours and Katy Perry's Teenage Dream will proceed to the next stage, Round 3.
And while they fought valiantly through Round 1, both The Best of Labi by Siffre and Stan Bush's Heaven are eliminated from the competition.
They were casualties of landing in a group dominated by two records that, for entirely different technical and artistic reasons, are considered genre-defining.
The lasting impression of this particular group, as we noted earlier, is just the sheer chaotic diversity that the random grouping process created.
It's incredible.
We had historical, dynamic 70s rock, compressed, energy-driven, 21st century bubblegum pop, delicate, poetic folk soul, and earnest 80s AOR cheese rock, all in one group.
It's a spectacular demonstration of how diverse music can be, but also how Greenstock is attempting to create this unified measuring stick. He's forced to pivot between judging the finesse of a flamenco guitar riff on Rumours
and the raw, undeniable hookdicity of a track like California Girls.
And what we learned, really, is that the difference between first and third place in this quest isn't just about songwriting. It's about the vulnerability of the music itself.
That's a great way to put it. The dynamic, subtle albums are fragile. They need ideal conditions to shine.
And the loud, consistent albums are robust. They succeed almost anywhere, regardless of the noise floor.
It forces us to ask, should music be panelized in a ranking system for being too subtle? For being too dependent on high-fidelity playback to reveal its full genius?
Or should production designed purely for utility, volume and consistency, be judged less favorably than production aimed at artistic fidelity and depth?
In Greenstock, by placing the delicate Rumours first, he confirmed his allegiance to depth over practical utility.
But only just. I mean, given how close Teenage Dream was, it was a very close call.
The fact that Rumours almost lost its top spot because of a noisy car stereo is arguably the most insightful finding of this entire album quest segment. It shows how technology and our environment are the silent co-authors in our musical appreciation.
So as we wrap up this segment of the album quest, let's crystallize the most important insights we've taken from Greenstock's struggle with Group 34.
First, I think we learned about the brutal mechanics of a hyper-competitive, structured ranking system. Surviving Round 1 only means you're qualified to fight in a higher stakes, often genre-clashing battleground in Round 2.
Second, and this is critical for any music lover, we explored the massive technical impact of the listening environment. We moved beyond simple preference and talked about dynamic range, compression, and the external noise floor.
Right, explaining exactly why an understated classic like Rumours can be actively degraded by something as mundane as car noise, while highly compressed pop just thrives.
And finally, we saw the essential contrast between the two qualifiers, the subtle, gorgeously engineered, wide dynamic range classic Rumours,
and the consistent, high-volume, maximum impact pop masterpiece, Teenage Dream.
They advanced for almost diametrically opposed technical reasons, yet both are recognized as being exceptionally well crafted within their own lane.